Well, everyone, I finally did it. The other day, I went and bought an iPad and of course the pencil. I think I mentioned in a previous video that I've been contemplating getting one of these for a while now, and I was on the fence because, well, I want to make sure that I'm going to get the use out of this, right? I've been wanting to start adding some colour to my drawings again. I used to do that a lot in the past and I really like the results, and so I just thought, screw it, if I'm going to be colouring my drawings digitally, then this is probably one of the best ways to do it, right? And also it's an iPad, so it does other stuff. Anyways, I've downloaded Procreate, which is the app that I see a lot of other artists using, and I'm going to have a go at colouring one of my drawings. Okay, so here we are in Procreate and I've imported one of my drawings that I want to colour. I think this piece that I did not so long ago will really benefit from a bit of colour, but I wasn't sure on what colours I should use. It had been so long, I didn't know where to start. In fact, what I decided to do was go to a site that randomly generates colour palettes like this, and I flicked through these until I saw something I liked. I came across this blue one, and yeah, I know it's all blue, but I thought, that would work well with this drawing. It can be like a nighttime scene, right? So I took a screenshot of that palette and imported it into the drawing here as well, so that I could colour pick each one of these as I went, but I ended up using other shades of blue as well. It was just to get me started, really. I was actually quite surprised when I started using this pencil because, well, first of all, it feels great, right? You can tell this is a high quality premium product, and it should be for the price. I think this was £100, but it's really enjoyable to use. You can easily change the pressure you apply to create darker or lighter strokes. Essentially, it just alters the opacity, right? But I did have to change the sensitivity settings in Procreate as well, due to the way that I work with colour. You see, I usually have the drawing on a separate layer above the colours, and I add colour onto separate layers below it. Now, I am still a complete beginner when it comes to colour, right? I know there's something called colour theory. Well, I have no understanding of that. I'm mostly just doing what I think looks good here. And I am keeping this quite simple in regards to how I'm doing this. I'm just working with flat colours, colouring in the areas of the drawing like this. I started with the sky behind the buildings here, adding a nice dark blue. It's quite satisfying using the pencil to do this. I can easily zoom in as well and work into these areas where I need to be more precise. A few minutes into using this iPad, I knew that I had made a good decision, right? Like, I'm going to be colouring a lot of my drawings from now on. In fact, I've even updated my online store. If you go over to danbeardshaw.store, you'll see all of these coloured drawings that I've got up there, prints that you can purchase, and I will be updating that as I go. I'll probably have to replace them as I add new ones, so if there's any on there at the minute that you really like, now's your chance to get them. As always, I appreciate the support. It's always a good feeling when someone purchases your artwork, right? Anyways, back to the task at hand. So the slider bars on the left allow you to change the brush size and opacity, and I am just using the standard brush here to do this. I'll have to spend some time testing out the other brushes, but for now, like I said, I'm just keeping this simple. My colouring process really isn't that technical. One thing I was doing here though was paying attention to how the varying shades of blue worked with each other. I started colouring this building here with a lighter shade that I thought looked quite good next to that darker shade that I used for the sky. I use an even lighter shade for the windows as well. That rounded square icon between these sliders is what you hold down to then colour pick anywhere on the screen, and so I was able to change the colours easily. A lot of the time I was just using the normal colour palette though to select lighter or darker shades. This is the 256GB 5th generation iPad Air, the most recent one. I mean, I could have got the 64GB version, but after reading some reviews online, I saw that people were saying that that might not be enough, especially if you're storing a lot of content and artwork on here, which I obviously will be. And they didn't do an in-between, right? They only do 64GB or 256GB, so obviously I had to get the one with the most memory. I feel like they do that deliberately just to get people to purchase this one, but at least I'll have plenty of space. So I am making sure here that I'm working on new layers when it comes to colouring different areas of the drawing. I found that I could then use the adjustment tools to alter the colour as well until I found something that worked. I actually found that Procreate was really simple to understand. It has a lot of similarities to Photoshop, which worked well for me because I often use that, so I picked this up rather quickly. Also, the fact that I can now sit on the couch and work on my art like this is a nice thought, even though I probably never will because I do have to do all of this on camera if I'm going to use the footage in these videos. But one feature I did discover, which I think is pretty cool, is the fact that Procreate records a time lapse of the entire drawing from start to finish. Essentially, it's the same as what I've done here, except of course it's just a screen recording. Anyways, I'm making some good progress here colouring this one. You can probably see how I'm just selecting the usual shades of blue now and working my way down colouring this in. I am going to be doing a workspace tour for you lot soon, but one thing that I plan on doing is putting some of these prints up on the wall. I think it'll look really good if I have all of these coloured drawings in a row together. I also want to add some colour to some of my older drawings now and see what they look like. Overall, I do think I'll get some good use out of this though. When I used to work with colour a few years back, I would use a drawing tablet, but it was only a cheap one that didn't have a screen or anything. That did the job, to be fair, but I found it to be an awkward way of working because you'd be looking at the computer screen and not at your hands drawing, unlike using this iPad where it's a similar experience to drawing as you normally do, where I'm looking at my hands and I can see the art that I'm making on a screen. But given that this is my first try, right, I don't think that this has turned out too bad. When I'm done colouring all of this, I spend some time here at the end adjusting the overall colours just to make them work together a bit better. I also export the image as a JPEG directly from Procreate. So there we go, that is the first drawing that I have created on the iPad. Obviously I've just added some colour over a drawing that I created in the sketchbook, but I think this is a process that works well for me because I still get to draw traditionally in pencil, but then I also get to work digitally as well and colour those drawings using this iPad. So I am looking forward to doing more of this. I hope you like the results. You know, I do still have a lot more to learn when it comes to colour, but all in good time, right? And so with that being said, keep on drawing. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the content I create, then do consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You will gain access to exclusive tutorials, study documents, process papers, real-time drawing footage and more. Plus, you will also be supporting me in a more personal way. Other than that, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you soon.